mentioned went with Captain America's side. And the reasons that they articulated for choosing their side in our post-playtest interviews were values-based. So now, to illustrate this point, I'm going to use an example of what could be considered a momentous choice that we've all had to make in our lives, which is the choice of career. So, this affects how you identify yourself to others, how you spend about half of your waking hours, who you associate with. It is definitely a consequential decision. Now, imagine that you've got a really dirty job. Dangerous, slavish, and low pay. If this job also is dishonorable and in fact illegal, is not considered valuable in your society, you might be one of these sex trade workers. If, on the other hand, you are dedicating yourself to a cause greater than yourself, submitting yourself to service for that reason, you might be one of these soldiers. Now, I have to say here, the people whose pictures I'm using, I don't know these people. I'm not talking about them as individuals, all right? But the point still stands. In fact, the fellows on the right represent a fantasy such that they can get a starring role in Call of Duty, and the women on the left, unfortunately, get a walk-on in Grand Theft Auto. This is a huge difference. If we say metaphorically that someone is soldiering, it means that they're showing perseverance in the face of adversity. If we say they're prostituting, especially if we say that about someone in the life of the arts, that means that they're doing what should be done for love, just for money, and by implication, they're probably not doing it very well. Whoa, all right, back up. What did I just say? By this time, a lot of you are probably mentally defending yourself from the attack that I didn't just make. I hope you noticed that I didn't make it, but if you're mentally justifying your life in the arts right now, you are getting the point. These are powerful concepts. I'm not talking about this just to shock you. I'm talking about this because shocking you will show you how powerful the concepts are. So why do we choose what we do in life? What informs this momentous choice? Why are we not off working for the Red Cross, or maybe the military, or some other non-governmental relief organization, or something? Excuse me. What good are you? Well, maybe at this festive time of the year. Your life as a game developer is about bringing joy to others. And happy St. Nicholas Day, by the way. That's today, if you're Catholic. Or maybe it's about helping people lead healthier lives. I understand that that might be the case for a number of people at this conference. What is it about your life that leads you to value what you do? And I bet you didn't think I was coming back to that slide. Now, if I've done my work, at this point you're examining your deeply held values. And here's the thing, your players are people with deeply held values too. And you can appeal to them. Now, I'm not saying that every game has to have some moral message to it. I don't think DJ Hero has one, I haven't played it. There's nothing wrong with harmless indulgence and entertainment, skill and fantasy. That's our job as entertainers. There's actually a sort of self-deprecating tendency in the games industry to dismiss mere entertainment. But there's also a quest for games that can make people cry or somehow validate our art form, and it's a noble and good goal, as long as it does not lead you to dismiss the power of games to excite a broad variety of other emotions, like feelings of honor and duty. Your emotional palette as the game developer can be broader than it is. You can wield more tools and you can make different and better games. We do not play games for logical reasons, all right? But out of desire for a whole variety of emotional experience, soul-searching, momentous choices about great things, among them. That's all I got. Any questions?
Yes.
Do you regret not having some kind of system to track what side people chose?
Oh, the question is, do I regret not having a system to track what side people chose? I would have liked more information, especially as I was preparing the talk. I was glad for what we did have. Microsoft is actually really good about providing their achievement data, and it is a good idea to craft your achievements to get certain kinds of information back, but not to the extent that you subvert your primary motivation in using achievements, which is, of course, to drive your players to obsessive behavior. So I would like more sort of tracking data on that, but I'm not sure what the best way would be to get it, again, without having undermined those other goals.
Hi, did it work? I guess it's a big question for me. Like, you talked very much about your intent, but did your players actually experience what you intended?
Good question. The question is, did it work? It's hard to know, obviously. What we have to go on, a lot of it is from very hardcore players who are influential. They are opinion leaders, and people will ask them about the Marvel game because we'll know that they're Marvel fans. The people on our message boards responded very positively. They were really interested in making the factional choice in the Civil War. They were highly invested in that storyline. The main complaint that we got about it was that they wanted more of Act 2. That's a good kind of complaint to get. I think we had good reasons for bringing things together again in Act 3, and that took the development resources that it did. But again, like, if people want more of what you're providing, that's a good kind of problem. Reviews were also very positive on that point. We had a range of reviews on a variety of other features of our game, and they were all over the map. But I can't think of anyone who did not like the Civil War story and the way it was presented. So ultimately, I think it went pretty well.
Yeah. So I'm curious. You mentioned there that you wanted to bring things back together in Act 3, and I mean, to me, being forced to make a decision, evaluate consequences based on my own values, I'd want to see something big and grand out of that. And it seemed quite limited that you had sort of one act where my consequences mean something, but reality is, either way I take, I'm going to end up at the same path at the end. Why did you choose to go that way?
Partly it was a business decision, in a sense. We had to be conscious of the fact that just as we had taken over the franchise from Raven and we were not using their story, that someone else might take over the franchise from us and not use our story. There was really no way to guarantee that. As it turned out, after we shipped, everyone's relationship with Marvel Comics got thrown into question. So we'll see how that works out. So, I don't know. It I think, was more a matter that we wanted to make the best story that we could within the constraints of wrapping things up again, than that we felt free to do anything that we wanted.
I've had one more question. Yes.
So after having gone through this process and seeing how much more work and things that surround momentous choices can have, as opposed to a very railroaded linear pathing, and the reaction that the community has had, would you do this again?
I would do it again for the right game. You have to have a really compelling reason, and you have to commit to it. As I said, I think that the Marvel Civil War story is one that you can only tell by building up the choice and doing the branching storyline. It's not something you do just to show off how interactive you are. There are, I think, a lot more high leverage ways to show off how interactive you are, and to extract a lot more value out of your resources. But for the right circumstances, I would definitely do it again. All right, thank you.